But what you really need to invest in is you. And you got to get super curious. Who am I? You're sitting there writing missions for companies. You're writing vision statements for companies. You're writing marketing plans for companies. What about your marketing plan? What about your vision? What about your mission? You're writing origin stories for companies. Have you written one for yourself?
hmm
Hey, welcome back to Right Media Group Chronicles. We are keeping it real, sharing fresh ideas, and giving you the fuel to keep moving forward. Let's jump in.
Welcome to today's episode. We are Right Media Group and we help marketing agencies scale their revenue. So if you want to learn how to take your agency business to the next level, make sure to stick around. Our guest today is Fisher Roffer, founder and CEO of Big Fish Marketing. Robin's helped shape campaigns for CNN, MTV, and Discovery, written 4 best-selling books with potentially another one to come. Robin, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here.
First things first, tell me, how was your recent trip?
It was amazing. We went to Rome and then Sardinia and Corsica. And Sardinia and Corsica are all about the water, just absolutely stunning water, beautiful soaring mountains, great nature. And Sardinia, of course, is Italian.
Yeah.
Corsica is French, and they are a 1 hour ferry ride apart. So it's a very good duo of islands to
Yeah.
take on. And of course, I write a travel blog on the side. So it's called wonderroadtravel.com. So I'm happy to share the stories about
Wow.
Sardinia and in my next blog coming up in a couple weeks.
Awesome. I mean, I don't want to like dive into something if you're not ready to share it, but you potentially mentioned about writing a book on your trip. So how's that coming along?
Oh, that was great. I actually finished it. It's
Wow, congrats.
set to, yeah, it's called Plenty of Husbands because I've
Oh,
had husbands. I've had 3, in fact, and 9 proposals. So the book
oh,
is an episodic adventure through my love life and finally finding the love that I never thought I could have or that I deserved until I was 55 years old. And so it took a lifetime to find love. And the book is for every woman or person who feels like love is eluding them, that it's never going to happen for them, and they're just going to keep getting disappointed, to give
mhm.
them a sense of hope and belief that it's not just for the young, it's for anyone. And I found it, and I want to give all the secrets on how to get it for
No, no, that's
yourself.
absolutely incredible. I mean, clearly it's never like kind of putting yourself in a position it's too late for me to find love. I've been let down so many times, like you said, and I'm so happy for you. Congratulations on that. And
Thank
you're
you.
literally like you're shining. Like I haven't seen a picture of you where you're like upset or sad. Even as a person, you're just radiating happiness from you. And I have to say, it's absolutely incredible, honestly.
Thank you. I appreciate you saying that because it wasn't always the case in my life. And that's why I felt like it was so important to write this memoir slash how-to guide because
Mhm.
I just wish somebody would have given me all these tips when I was
Yeah.
early on. And you know what I'm talking about, the red flags. They're right in front of you. If you could just take a snapshot of your first date with that person who down the line you just eventually knew wasn't right, but you had so much hope when you met them, and you really looked at that picture, you would see all the red flags, but you just couldn't see it at the moment. And the
Yeah.
more experience we have, the more we
Mhm.
see them quicker, and we can end things before they actually get started.
Yeah. No, I mean,
So
I'd
no
love
more
to dive
wasting
into a
time.
whole relationship podcast with you because I completely agree with you. And unfortunately, we are in a stage that sometimes like we're hopeful. Like even though we see that red flag, we kind of like try to close our eyes and like I didn't see it really, but it's there, and that's our own kind of fault. And then we get let down later down the line.
Well, and particularly as women, we have such great instincts. It's our superpower, and we know right away. We get that gut feeling, or we have it in our throat, or we have kind of a breaking out in sort of a hot flash. All of a sudden, we're getting a sense of what's happening. But then what we do is we override the intuition.
Mhm.
We don't take charge of the belief that something's going on and tune in. We just override it and go, "But he's so cute, and he's so
Mhm.
fantastic and he's got this great career. And so we go into doubt. And then all of a sudden, minutes become hours, hours become days, days become months, and then years, where we're constantly telling ourselves it's going to be okay. And there's no time to waste, guys. So we
Mm.
need to start tuning into our superpower, our intuition, and
Yeah,
moving quicker.
I do think, like, women are creatures of superpower, like you have stated there. I'm a Pisces myself. I don't know if you believe in horoscopes, but I am
I
very
do.
aligned with my intuition, and I do try and listen to it because I know, like, time and time again, I'm proven to be correct.
It's amazing. If I just gave a speech on Friday and I asked the women in the
Yeah.
audience, I said, how many of you knew in your gut that you shouldn't do something and you did
Mhm.
it anyway? Like every hand shot up. It's just
Wow.
a
Yeah.
universal thing. You're not, the fact that you are tuning in and you're using it. And this is in business too. We know when a client's going to be trouble. We know when a partner is somebody we shouldn't get into business with. We just override our intuition over and over again. And we have to stop doing that. And we have to start tuning in and listening and believing in ourselves.
4 best-selling books that you have written, what kind of topics were they about?
I write up until this book called Plenty of Husbands, up until my love book, I only wrote about fearless leadership.
Mm.
And I wrote the first book on personal branding ever written. And I wrote it for women specifically because we have a really hard time telling our story,
Mhm.
sharing what we do that is special, that is unique, our value proposition. And so I wanted to give an 8-step guide to women called Make a Name for Yourself,
Mm.
that they would have to actually build their personal brand. There'd never been anything written on that topic before.
Wow.
And so that was my first book, Make a Name for Yourself. And of course, it's still available on Amazon. My second book was called The Fearless Fish Out of Water. I had left Los Angeles and moved with my daughter to Santa Fe, New Mexico. I was a fish out of water. And I started to think of how being different makes you special and how
Mhm.
can you amplify what's different about you. So I wrote a book using about 16 different interviews of executives that had succeeded not because they were different, but not in spite of their differences, but because of differences.
Okay.
They actually really believe that people that are different can make a difference. So people who are different can make a difference because the spotlight is on them. They're standing out. And that the idea of trying to blend in or just assimilate really isn't what's going to create your personal brand, turn you into the leader you always dreamed of being. It's actually gonna quell your chances for all that. So this book is a book that helps you to shine a light on what's different about you and use it to your advantage. The interviews share, stories from major executives who turned the fact that they were an immigrant or the fact that they
Mhm.
were color or they just thought different like me. I just absolutely feel like sometimes the oddest duck in the room because nobody is thinking like I am about a certain topic. And I'm sure everyone listening to this podcast can relate to that. But how do you turn that difference into your advantage? It's called The Fearless Fish Out of Water. The Fearless
Fearless
Fish Out of
fish.
Water. And it's also on Amazon. All these are on Amazon.
Do you have
Then
audio books for them as well?
okay, funny you should ask. I do have an audiobook for Make a Name for Yourself, but I just was on the phone with somebody yesterday who is going to help me record this third book, which is
Ooh.
called Your No Career: How to Be Fearless in Business. And it is a step-by-step guide, 12 steps on how to move from fear into faith in yourself and your people and in your ideas
Mm.
and attract people that believe in you. So that's the one I'm gonna record. And then I did a video. It's like a really interesting book. It's called a Vook. It's a video book that's also has like text, but it also has videos, and it's called Reinvent Yourself. So that's what I'm doing now. I'm helping business leaders, professionals passionate people who want to know why they're here, what their purpose is in the world, and I'm helping them to reinvent themselves, to be more true to themselves, more authentic in the work they're doing in their lives. And that's through workshops that I'm doing in my home privately and also at Modern Elder Academy in Santa Fe.
Wow, incredible. Awesome. And in regarding to your agencies, is that kind of part of the reinvent yourself new area that you're going towards? Or is your agency still kind of like separate from that?
So, the secret to my agency being around for 33 years is that I keep reinventing it.
Yeah.
So,
You keep
we
adjusting to
started
the
out,
time.
yeah, you got to reinvent yourself. You have to listen to your customers and your clients, and you have to look at the market and say to yourself, how can I serve best? And so we went, when we first started in the early 90s, Big Fish, which is the name of my firm, Big Fish Marketing, was a sweepstakes firm. So watch Shark Week all this week and register to win your chance to swim with the sharks in Tahiti, like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Or on MTV, and John Cougar Mellencamp had a song called Little Pink Houses. We'll buy you a little pink house, a little pink farmhouse in Indiana, where John Cougar Mellencamp is from. And you can have one. All you have to do is register to win, watch this show, and you could win. So we started out as doing these wild for the NFL, the NBA, for, Comedy Central's, during the election coverage, Indecision, all of that stuff had sweepstakes attached to it with advertisers. And so we rode that wave. And then I said to myself, wait a minute, people are starting to hire me more and more to create these television network brands from scratch or to reinvent them or to fine tune them. And so we turned the agency into a brand marketing firm, got rid of the sweepstakes and went into brand marketing full boat, which was an amazing thing to do because there weren't many brand marketing firms at the time. And then we reinvented ourselves again, keeping that piece. But now we were training salespeople at television networks, technology companies, you name the kind of company. We were training their salespeople on how to write, tell, and live their greatest story for themselves and for their
Oh.
company, teaching them how to pitch and close deals. And then we were writing the speeches for them with all the fancy animated PowerPoint presentations, videos, all kinds of collateral and materials they would need to close the deal. And then we were helping the CEOs of the company by writing their speeches that they would give to advertisers and investors. And that's where I stopped in January of this year.
Okay.
I had written this speech for Hewlett Packard Enterprises CEO Antonio Neri, which he gave on stage with NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang. And I'd art directed an opening piece for that and was part of and it went into the Sphere in Las Vegas. So it was a huge extravaganza. And then Delta in January, their CEO also gave a speech that I helped write. So that's where I dropped the mic and said, I'm just ready to take everything I know and give it to everyday people, like everyone listening right now, and help them with what their purpose is, their greatest story, what is their speech, what is their legacy they're going to leave, and putting together these workshops, private and group, and also writing this book about love and just stepping into love and light and helping individuals to have their greatest life, what's left of it.
Uh-huh.
And so that's where I've devoted myself, but it's all under the Big Fish umbrella. We just keep constantly reinventing what the company is.
I love that. And I believe that's one of the reasons why you have survived. And I have to say, not just survived, but thrived. It seems like you're constantly riding the wave. You're noticing this change in the market and you're just taking advantage of it. Noticing what is the next kind of big thing that you should be paying attention to as an agency. Is there any sort of steps or trends that you usually see that you keep a lookout for?
I think that the biggest trend is this idea of reinvention, which I've been really into for the past decade. It's making sure that whether it's your personal brand or your company's brand, that both are in sync and they're relevant and authentic. We are at a moment of so much uncertainty. And anyone who can be A, the calm in the storm, or B, the inspiration for change. Underneath all of that is this guiding light of faith that we're going to get through this, that we can make it. And you're that strong person that's the winning advantage for your company or for yourself. And I would say again, both. If you're a company leader, you got to be paying attention to your own brand. What are you offering to clients that are making them feel like you got this? You're with them. You've got their back. You are there to help them think about how to be in this moment, not get stuck in the past, but move forward with incredible confidence. And that is what's going to win the day. That confident communication to customers and to clients is what's going to win the day. If you go into fear, they're going to go into fear, and they're certainly not going to choose to work with, have on their podcast speeches, nothing. You have to be the one who's strong.
I mean, you talked about one of your books being in regards to fear, and I'm sure you have ways of how you manage fear, and especially as women and anyone, to be fair, we all have fear. I mean, some hide it better than others. So I'm actually looking forward to going through your books because they sound incredible and genuinely topics that you're like, oh wow, I wonder how she talks about that because that's a genuine issue.
It really is. On Friday, I told this story to this audience of 500 women here in Santa Fe. It was for the Chamber of Commerce. I'll tell you this story because it started me on the path of being fearless. I was in my early 40s. I was sitting on an airplane with a woman named Barbara Orbison. And I don't know if you've ever heard of who was one of the biggest rock stars in the world around the time of Elvis. His name was Roy Orbison. Well, he wrote a song called Pretty Woman, which, the movie Pretty Woman with Julia
Yeah.
Roberts? It's the theme song of the movie. And he wrote this song. He also wrote a song called Only the Lonely. He was a big, big star back in the day. So I'm a huge music freak, and I'm sitting next to Barbara Orbison, the widow of Roy Orbison, and I am sitting next to the Pretty Woman. And she looks a lot like you, beautiful black hair, big blue eyes, just gorgeous, very tall and beautiful, and a strong German accent, a strong German woman. And I'm sitting next to her and I'm regaling her with all these stories of being the concert promoter at my school, the University of Alabama, and working for this record company when I got out of school, and how much I love music and her husband's music, her beloved who she was trying to get the stamp for. I remember she was trying to get a postage stamp with his picture on it like Elvis had. And so we were talking about all that, and I'm just talking, really not giving her a chance to butt in at all,
You were so
comment,
excited.
react. I was fangirling her hard, right? I was just like, she's going to be my best friend. Anyway, in the middle of this, she just puts out her hand and goes, "Stop,
Okay.
stop this." And I looked at her so perplexed. "Stop what?" And she said, "Stop acting like a girl. You are a mother. You are a woman, and you are a business leader. How do you expect anyone to take you seriously when you go on and on with this people pleaser act?" Well, my eyes welled up. I was just about to burst out crying. I was so
Wow.
lost. I was in fear of people not liking me. I really went over the top to make the big impression, to be the girl that, everyone would like. And back in that day, I spoke way up here and I had a Southern accent, and I really, I just want everybody like, "Hey, y'all." Like, I was just like totally, you know, I think it worked when I was in my 20s and 30s. It was sort of adorable. I won lots of business and I built my company, but I had become early fees, and that act was not working at all. And that's the reinvention piece, because I had to go from being in fear and unauthentic and totally a blabbermouth, not letting anybody in,
Mm.
to getting vocal lessons, how to lower my voice, how to lose the accent. I felt I had to go into. If I wanted to change and be somebody Barbara Orbison would want to be friends with, or anybody of that caliber, I had to go learn how to move on a stage, walk into a room with poise. I took body work lessons. I started to go to workshops. I went to improv workshops to how to be good on my feet and work with other people and learn how to do yes and. In improv, it's yes and, right? It's not no, you can't. It's yes and wait, and you add on, and then you're working together.
Heard
I
about
took
that one,
writing
yeah.
class. I took, I went to a new therapist who helped me to get rid of the little girl act. I learned that I was coming from fear instead of faith. And I learned how to talk to myself and say, "You've got this, Robin. There," and be
Mm,
the mother I never had.
mm.
And so thank God there was somebody in the world who said, "Stop."
Wow.
If you're listening to this right now, I'm the one to say, stop, reinvent, walk into your own self and really look at your soul. Who am I? What do I want to convey? How can I have purpose in this world? And then you shift into your authentic self and everything flows from there. I doubled my business by stopping the little girl out.
You know what I think is so incredible about that? Is because, like, I see you and I'll be honest with you, I'm fangirling you. I am. You are incredible. But, like, the one thing is, people don't really know what's behind the scenes. How much you invested into yourself to become who you are today. It's giving me goosebumps because nobody just gets overnight success.
Absolutely not. And to be a leader of an agency, that's who we're talking to today, right? Marketing people, leaders
Yeah.
of agencies. You think you have to invest in your company and that's all that matters, or invest in great people and a great team. You need that. But what you really need to invest in is you. And you got to get super curious. Who am I? You're sitting there writing missions for companies. You're writing vision statements for companies. You're writing marketing plans for companies. What about your marketing plan? What about your vision? What about your mission? You're writing origin stories for companies. Have you written one for yourself?
Hmm.
This is where you
Wow.
gain
Yeah.
tremendous confidence in who you are, and when you walk in a room, it doesn't matter what you had going on in the past. What matters is that you've walked in and you've made them feel like they're just lucky to be working with you.
And it conveys in your messaging how you handle yourself. And like you said, you doubled your clients after you reinvented yourself and who you really are.
It's so true that I soared after that. And you know what? It took somebody really being honest. And I don't think that we're as honest as we need to be with each other sometimes. And remember, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. You
Mm,
always want to tell somebody something amazing about them and that you love about them. Then you put in that piece. And you're probably thinking of your employees right now. God, I just wish I could tell Sarah how I really feel about her. You want to say something gorgeous about her. Then
uh-huh.
you want to say the truth of what she could do to stop it, whatever it is. And then end with how you believe in her, all the faith you have, and how you know this could really be great for her if she just changed that one thing. So that's been a great lesson for me, and you get more faith to have that kind of communication if you're doing it with love
Hmm.
and with total selflessness. This is for, and we're using her name, Sarah, not you. You want her to be better. Barbara wanted me to be better. And we did
Hmm.
become friends after that
You
because I
did?
showed her I wanted to change. Yeah. Until
Wow.
she passed, and it's sad. She did pass of cancer some years later, but we became really great friends because I said to her, I am going to stop it and I am going to change, and you're going to see a difference in me the next time we get together.
Did you get together again then?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, many times. Yeah.
Incredible story. As business owners, I think storytelling is very important. How do you convey your brand, your messaging to your client? Do you have any sort of steps to great storytelling?
Absolutely. So I have perfected a total theory with my sister Wendy, who's
Mhm.
also a storyteller, but she does it for cancer research centers. Right now, she's working with Stanford and UC Irvine, but she's worked with Harvard. So the same methodology that she uses to tell a cancer research center story, I use to tell a media story or a
Mhm.
technology story. So it's universal, or your story, even, your personal story. And here's the headline. So great stories are like road trips where no one gets lost. Okay. And usually on a road trip, let's say you and I are going away for the weekend. Okay. We're going to go to Rome. All right.
Mhm.
So we're going to pick, but we only have the weekend,
Mhm.
right? So we're going to want to, you and I can tell, you and I are going to want to shop and eat, right? And have
Yeah.
our
Yeah.
clothes. So there's not a lot of time to see the sights in like a 2-day weekend, right? So we're going to have to pick maybe three. We're gonna go to 3 points of interest because more than that, it's like, then we can't fit in all the other fun things we
Of
wanna
course.
do, but
Yeah.
we're gonna go to 3. So you and I'll work out what 3 they are, but I'm gonna make sure that you love them because you're the passenger on my road trip. I've asked you to come with me. So that is the customer, that is the client, right? The passenger in your car on your road trip. You're gonna pick 3 points of interest for them when you tell your story. 3 things about you that are main messages that you're gonna want them to remember.
Mhm.
But the destination is the most important thing. We
Mhm.
are going to Rome and we're going to see these 3 sites. Okay? That's easy to remember. So when you tell your story, for me, I'm a brand strategist and a storyteller. So that's my destination. We're going to go and I'm going to help you write your greatest story, right? Because that's what I do. So that's my destination I'm
Yeah.
taking you on. And we're going to do that 3 ways. We're going to uncover your mission. Why are you here? What is your purpose in this lifetime? We're going to arrive at your superpowers. And then we're going to tell a story about your past from from how you got those superpowers that you were born with or that you cultivated. And that story is going to be so memorable that people are going to remember it when they talk about you. So that is the formula. That is the way to do it. Because if you add all these other things in, people are going to get lost. You have to pick and choose very carefully. And that story's got to be strong. All right.
So I have a question to follow up on that. You're saying I'm your passenger in your story. How can you know what your passenger, what are they gonna want to know? How do you go about that?
So let's say you're at a networking event. You've
Mhm.
just had a day of meetings at a trade show or, let's call it Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas, just to concrete, make it easy.
Mhm.
And now you're at a cocktail party that you've been invited to and you want to network and make friends. Ask a lot of questions and listen. Don't do what I did with Barbara and just talk. Because when you ask a lot of questions and listen, then you know your way in to their
Mhm.
heart soul, and you can start to create a story about you and your business and who you are
That is
that
so
will
powerful.
yes, it's all about being curious and listening and then tell your story totally tailored. Again, you're taking them on a road trip. So I know you love Rome because the picture that you have of yourself before you come live onto the screen is you in Rome. And
Yeah.
I just came from Rome. So we know now we love to travel. So how did
Yeah.
we start the conversation about travel? That was our way in. We created an instant, you did it, created an instant connection because
Phew.
that's my, didn't take
Yeah.
long for me to figure out was my passion. So we're trying to find a way in and a connection because what we all want more than anything is a sense of belonging. Everybody is lonely. Everybody wants to belong, and you talk about Roy Orbison writing the song "Only the Lonely." Listen to that song. I mean, that's the feast, and people wanted a sense of belonging and community, and you can create a community in every moment when you go to a networking event. Now, let's say you have a client that maybe the AI has found you a client, and now you've gotten the phone call with them, and you're gonna go pitch, maybe on Zoom like you and I are doing. again, I would have researched them as much as I possibly could and learned everything about them to find the entry point, and then I would ask questions first. I wouldn't just go turn on the PowerPoint and
Mhm.
start pitching. I would also make sure that PowerPoint was customized to them. And I might not even do a PowerPoint because maybe from what you've learned, they're a more casual person and they'd like a conversation more. They don't want to see slides. They're not that way. You just know because maybe you heard them on a podcast or you saw an article they wrote or you know what brand they represent, and that wouldn't be right.
Mhm.
So you want to tailor every presentation like it's the road trip you're taking them on. You're going to tell them what the destination is. I'm going to make your company more money by reinventing your brand. And then here's the three ways we're going to do it. And I know you'll love it because I've studied your brand and I know X about you. I know X about your brand. Do you see what I mean? It just can't be turn on the PowerPoint and start pitching. It just doesn't work like that.
Especially
Never going to
nowadays. Let's be honest, we're all getting direct pitched all the time. We don't even we see the first line and that's it. We're just go scrolling on to the next.
Oh, yeah, I must get 20 people a day saying, I'll get you more clients. Do you want us to buy your company? I bet you're ready to sell. I mean, we're being bombarded with inauthentic, AI driven solicitation. That's why we need to be, as humans, as real as possible and give people an incredible, fearless representation of who we are, why we're here, and what we do better than anyone else. And during the call, be tuning into the intuition that you have inside you and say, you know what, I'm going to stop right here and hear what you're thinking now.
I'm personally curious about this one. So, in regarding to remote, that's something that started since COVID. More and more people and companies are working remotely. How can you still get a sense of that intuition on a call? Because I mean, I have to say it's a little bit different. You see a little bit of body language, but it's not the same as in person. At the end of the day,
It really isn't. That's why it's so important to keep checking in and asking questions.
I
Also,
see.
another thing that I do, like if I was, this is a podcast, so it's a different forum, but let's say I've been asked to like give a speech on
Mhm.
Zoom. I actually
Give a
put
speech.
it's crazy. I don't love it. But presentation, like, so I put like I stack up the books so that the laptop is as tall as I am, and I stand and deliver. 'Cause then
Mhm.
they can feel my energy come through in, like, a bigger way, like, I'm sitting right now, I'm on the edge of my seat, but I would be even better standing, but we're sitting, we're having a conversation, this
Yeah.
is a different form. But if, there were a bunch of people in a room I was presenting to, I might even stand, and then I'm, like, so in my body that my intuition is even more heightened about
Mhm.
what actually so this is just but you've gotta own the Zoom and you own the Zoom by being confident, by sitting up, by like giving an energy that's positive, being in your highest self, and stating your true purpose. And for this conversation, your intention, where do you want it to go? And having ideas ready, but listening and being curious before you throw those ideas out because they can land with a thud.
Yeah. No,
No,
especially powerful for that because let's be honest, like you just said it yourself, it's not the same. You know, digital is like where we're moving towards, and to learn this is like another skill in its own way.
it really is. Well, you're doing a great job.
Oh, thank you so much. You're just so easy to talk to. It's an absolute pleasure to have you on this podcast. I feel like we have definitely steered away from that business, but this storytelling of what we're covering here right now is in itself so very powerful. I'm so eager to like cover these topics with you. So thank you for sharing all of your insights.
Well, I appreciate that. And know that I'm in my mission talking to you because my mission is to guide you to write, tell, and live your greatest story. Whether it's you, the person, that's leading the company, or it's a brand that you're building. Because
Mhm.
everything is storytelling. Even an ad is storytelling. Just a
Mhm.
static ad, a billboard is storytelling. And if it's not, you failed. It
Mhm.
all should evoke an emotion and you want to learn more. That's great storytelling.
Yeah. I have to ask you this current trend that we see, which is AI. AI is not good at that human emotion and triggering that. That's one of the weaknesses everyone keeps on talking about. But do you see AI as useful currently in your own business?
Absolutely. So in writing the book, um, I have some very dramatic moments, very dramatic. And I will put it into my chat on. I really like chat on. That's what I use.
Like
I
a
put
chat to chat function, sorry?
chat on. It's just called chat on, O-N, chat. And I speak into it. And I tell the story that I've
Ooh.
written. I just speak it, or you can cut and paste it and put it in there too. But I like to speak it into my chat on. And then I'll say, now make this funny, or now make this less victimy crybaby, or make this, and I just see what they come up with. I've written it. It's me. It's human. But I just see maybe they add a word that I didn't think of, or they add an angle, they being my chat assistant. And it's very interesting to see. Sometimes I'll use it. So I just want to see a different way to approach a story and if they can tweak it and make it just a little bit more compelling. So I do that. The other thing I did the other day with the chat on, which was really a time saver, was I have an archive of 30 years of cable television marketing materials. I mean, everything from the NFL to MTV to, I mean, you name it, Comedy Central. I have crazy South Park stuff. I have like unbelievable stuff from like Jon Stewart and The Daily Show and when they launched, and it's real historical. So I asked Chat on, where can I send all these materials? And they gave me a complete list. And I said, now provide me all the contacts. And they gave me all the names of the people, their phone numbers, their emails, everything. And then I said, now write a letter to them. And I gave like the chat on, app details about what I had in the archive. Within a second, I had the letter. It was perfectly written. And I had
Ooh.
everyone I had to send it to. Within 30 minutes, I had 7 letters go out to different museums, all perfectly written, and I got responses back. So that is something that I have been putting off for so long because I thought, "Oh my god, what am I gonna say in this letter? Who am I gonna send it to? It's gonna be so hard."
Ah.
So this is a really good use, I think, of chat. I mean, of, AI. I really love it.
So is chat on, because that's not something I've used previously. Is it kind of like ChatGPT, but obviously you can speak to it and it still gives you similar output?
Yeah, it's just like all the other apps, but it's just one that I got hooked into when AI came out. It's just one of the first ones that Apple was saying they really liked. And I liked that I could just talk into the phone and it would give me it instantly. And then I can share it to my laptop or send it right away. Yeah, it has different ways of sharing it and incorporating it. So I really liked it. Just seemed really convenient. I'm sure there's better ones, but it's what I got hooked on and I've trained. You have to train your AI.
Yeah, yeah. Oh,
But
yeah, absolutely.
yeah,
I
so
mean,
anyway,
so many people just use the first thing they get from an AI, but you need to put some idea into it. You need to train it as well in order to get the best response, and then you still got to work on that to get the final piece that you can work with.
well, I can tell you what it's terrible at, taglines. It is
Taglines.
like taglines, it's the worst. Like, it can't write a tagline, it's not good at headlines. You're gonna have to, as a human, still do that stuff, and thank God, because then we wouldn't need agencies anymore. It's
Mhm,
really not that good at it.
mhm.
Maybe body copy, it could zhuzh it up a little, but definitely headline I found it to be a complete failure. It's great at finding recipes, but, like, not for or like I could say, "Give me the perfect day in Rome," and it'll give you some ideas, or, "How do I spend time in the Jewish ghetto in Rome? Like, what are my top things that I need to do?" That it's good at, but the rest of it, not so mu anything truly creative, truly funny, truly original, it can't be done yet.
There's some scary things happening if you think about it. Meta's thinking about creating an AI ads that you can just run yourself as a business. And I am curious, I have to say. They're saying it comes out next year. But what can you expect? I mean, it's only going to get better. And then where do the marketing agencies and especially the PPC ones, pay per click?
Yeah. I this is why I focus on reinvention and storytelling. I think the more narrow you can make your talents,
Yeah.
the more you amplify your true superpowers that separate you from the pack, the more you'll be valuable, even in a world of AI. Nobody, no, I just told you 10 times a day, I'll get these solicitations in my email box or on my texted on my phone, and I just delete, delete, delete.
Hmm.
And you have to do the hard work like you did with me. Go find that person on LinkedIn. Go send them a personal message, not an AI message, but a real personal message. And then, or say, or try to find them through a contact you already know
Hmm.
and create a personal relationship. One of my biggest accounts in my early years was IBM. And there was a man working there named Rick Salvage who was working on this new thing called the internet. Remember, I started my company
Oh,
33
wow.
years
Wow.
ago, and I wanted to get into this thing called the internet, just like everybody wants to get into this thing called AI. We're in that moment again where things are going to really change. And there was an article that was in the newspaper where he was quoted as saying that he was developing these things called websites and they were going to all be entertainment and sports focused. And he was in the sports solutions division of IBM. I saw that he was speaking at an event in LA called the All Stars, and he was on a panel. Well, guess where I went? I got myself to that panel and I sat in front of him and I watched it. And when it was over, I came up to him and said, I had the article in my hand and said, I have been wanting to meet you for months and I want to work with you and I
Yeah.
want to be your storyteller. And I know media and entertainment and we can work together. And I worked with him for years.
You work with incredible big companies and names. You don't dream small for sure.
No, and I called my company Big Fish because my vision was to work with the biggest companies in the world, and I accomplished that. I set the intention, I named my company that, and I would go to where they were because you are not getting a big fish with an AI ad that is made by Meta. I'm sorry. It's just not going to happen. It's all about connecting. My daughter's in the entertainment business, Roxy. She lives in LA. They are on the phone the entire day, the telephone, mostly, and sometimes Zoom, but mostly, or in meetings, in lunches, face to face. That's how you build your network. And the
Mhm.
entertainment industry is built like that. And they have these credible relationships. And that's how movies get made. That's how TV shows get made. That's how your career takes off. And all the other industries could learn from them
Mhm.
on how the community, right, that's going to elevate you personally and professionally. And people are so afraid of the phone now.
Yeah.
Everything's an email, it's a LinkedIn message. It's like, pick up the phone. I just left a message for one of my former clients yesterday. I was thinking about you. I just left it on her
No.
voicemail. I love audio messages too. I
Mhm.
love those on text, and they always are going to listen to that. It's really hard to ignore an audio
Yeah.
text.
Do you mean like on LinkedIn or just about anywhere?
Well, like, I'll just do it on my iPhone in Messenger, and I'll just, record a message that's like, "Hi, it's Robin. I was thinking about you today.
Yeah.
I saw that you were mentioned in the Wall Street Journal. I am so thrilled and honored to be your friend, and I just wanted to be the first to congratulate you for that ink. Have a great day." And that's instead of just texting that, there's an
Mhm.
audio recording of my voice being
Yeah.
excited.
And there's that sort of connection again, that belonging because you're connecting as people rather than messages. And I understand we're in a digital world, but you still have to make it as authentic and as human as you can.
Absolutely, and that will differentiate you from the pack.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like there's so many owners, but at the same time, their pitch is direct, like, oh, this is who I am and this is what I can do for your business. That's not the right way to connect with business owners at all, as we just covered throughout this whole podcast.
Absolutely. You have to really know their story first, and that might come from questions or your own research.
Mhm.
And then don't forget, you're taking them on a road trip. You don't want to get
Yeah.
lost. You don't want to break down, right? What are
Yeah.
some other things that can happen? You don't want to get, off road. You don't want to do, there's just a million things that can go wrong. So you have to really research, get curious. What does this person want or need from you that you have to offer? What is your superpower that's a
Mhm.
great match for them?
Mhm.
You have to know the answer to that before you start to pitch.
Robin, thank you so much for this podcast. My last question to you is, I mean, you covered your cans a little bit. Can you dive a bit deeper into what is your goals in the next year that you're trying to achieve?
My goal in the next year is pretty audacious. I
Uh-huh.
want to be
Okay.
known, this is audacious. I want to be known as the leading love enthusiast for women in midlife in the world. That's what
Wow.
I want. Yeah.
Dream
I
big.
mean,
I mean, we talked
I,
about
I
you know dreaming small, so go for it.
I want women to know that they can come to me, whether it's on a podcast or in a book, and they're going to find inspiration to know that they can love again, that have the confidence in doing that. And just as my daughter says, put on your taxi cab light. Because if it's dim, no
I
one
see.
will.
Yeah, I love that. That made me think for a second, but yeah, I got it.
Yeah, when, like, you're in New York and you're
Yeah.
gonna wait. You don't get in the cab that has the dim light, you get in the one that's lit up that says taxi, right? So,
Uh-huh.
taxi cab light on. So, I just want to give hope to the world
Mhm.
that, you don't have to be alone.
Is this what pretty much the message is for your last book? Is it out yet? Did you say you finished it? Is this it still hasn't been
No, I
published?
just finished it, and I just sent it to my daughter and my sweetheart Brian and my sister to approve because they're the stars of my book, and I want them to love it and be comfortable with it before I print it and get it. But in the meantime, I can still help, and I want to help at the same time everyone that's listening to write, tell, and live their greatest story. So I hope they can come to a workshop or read one of the books we
Mhm.
mentioned or listen to this podcast and do the work on themselves to get curious, know why they're here, tell their greatest story. That would bring me so much joy as well. I
Awesome.
think who you are and why you're here, just what Barbara said. That's
Uh-huh.
because when I asked, well, how do I stop? She said, know who you are and why you're here was a game changer for me. And I hope it is for everybody listening.
Where can people connect with you if they wanted to get in touch or find out more about your services, what you can do for businesses?
Thank you so much for asking. That's so generous. Bigfishmarketing.com under the live section. Check it out because that's how you find me live. Of course, LinkedIn, Robin Fisher Roffer, and then Instagram, follow my travels at
Yeah.
Robin
Yeah.
underscore Roffer, or go to wonderroadtravel.com and subscribe so that I can send you my Santorini and Corsica ideas and all the rest of the places
Yeah.
I'm
Is
going.
that already out, like your latest travel blog? Have you posted it?
Yeah, I just posted Puglia. That's a wonderful place in Italy, so that's my latest one. But and the website has a total archive of all of it,
Mhm.
but the next out in the next 2 weeks. So if you subscribe, you'll get it.
Robin, like I said, it's been honestly like life changing for me. And I just want
Oh
you
my
to
god.
know genuinely what you have mentioned today, I have like taken it to heart. I'm not just saying that. I have, and I hope the audience has as well, because you have talked about absolute gold today. So thank you for
Thank
sharing your
you.
knowledge and your experiences.
Thank you so much, and I just love you. I think you're so wonderful and warm, and this audience is so lucky to have you as a podcaster, and I'm just so grateful that you reached out to me. Thank you so much.